Hi, YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6th YouTube channel. Well, I thought I would do the vlog over here because I wanted some decorations. Because I tell you, the Venetian blind, or the window blind that covers the big picture window, it just looks too plain. And this has more decoration, more flair. Cause see, this thing right here, this was something that was the cardboard box that is encased over the pizza that is used to deliver the pizza, and it's from Pizza Hut. That is such good graphics and such a good design. I cut it out carefully and I used it as a decoration. Look at that baby. Well, what I would like to talk about is, okay, had to do a camera adjustment. What I would like to talk about is a story idea that I wrote on December 8th, 2019. And it is about a man who is probably in his early 30s. His name is Blaine Rowlong. And the story probably would take place in well, I would assume about 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. But why don't I go ahead and just start reading the story, and we'll go from there. Blaine Rowlong awakes at 9 a.m. after the reliable services brought on by his 2003 edition of a GE digital alarm clock. And he lays in bed for 5 minutes, then rises up out of bed and quickly walks to the only bathroom within the confines of his 584 square foot, one bedroom, one bathroom apartment home located on Jersey Street within the Virginia-Vale neighborhood of Denver, Colorado. Okay, when I say Virginia-Vale neighborhood of Colorado, that's not made up. It's an actual, literal neighborhood that is in the south central, southeastern part of Denver, or it's more south central, southeastern part instead of the middle southeast, or the deep south, southeast. I mean, it's more over. Okay, let's say all this is the city and county in Denver. North's going to be over here. Northwest is going to be here. South Central is going to be roughly about here. Southeast is going to be about here. Now the Virginia-Vale is in the southeastern part of Denver, but it doesn't quite have that southeastern feel. It feels more like, traditional Denver, excuse me, and it looks a little more like, it looks fairly similar and kind of has the feel of the northeast part of Denver. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I had to get some water because all of a sudden my voice started feeling hoarse. Okay, so I'll continue reading. Okay. After he relieved his, takes a pee, he drafts on the hot and cold water in order to take a nice revival shower bath. Okay, what this means concerning what I just wrote is he's really feeling groggy and tired, and he's got a little bit of crud in his eyes, and he's itching because he probably got sweaty while he was sleeping, and his face is, there's at least 24 hours worth of stubble right here, and his teeth feel cruddy because he needs to brush his teeth. I mean, it happens to all of us. No matter how much we brush our teeth every day, you wake up some days and with the beverages you've been drinking and the food you've been eating, you wake up the next day and oh boy, the inside of your mouth feels like crap. It feels yucky. But okay, I'll go ahead and continue on reading the story. After the shower bathing ended, he shaves his face with a 3-blade Gillette razor. He trims his mustache with modern barber scissors, because he's a guy who's probably got either reddish brown hair or dark brown hair, and he trims his hair like that, or trims his mustache like that. Not his hair, his mustache. Duh. I'm sorry. Gosh. And he brushes his teeth with old-fashioned powdered toothpaste, placed on a wide-sided special type of toothbrush. Then he sprays Axe body spray underneath his underarms, because that's deodorant, or antiperspirant, actually. Psst. Psst. And combs his nice black hair. So I take it back, he has black hair. I totally forgot that I added that to the story to describe the character himself. And then exits the bathroom and inserts both his contact lenses onto his eyes. And gets fully dressed into his favorite casual clothing, consisting of charcoal gray t-shirt of a drive-in burger restaurant in the state of, I said Oklahoma State, but it's in the state of Oklahoma. It's probably one of those places that would be in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, or somewhere in rural Oklahoma. Because I bet they got some pretty good drive-in places where they got some really good cheeseburgers. Really good burger-related comfort food. And he puts on a pair of Diesel, because this is a brand that actually made really good jeans, denim pants. Diesel denim dark blue jeans, brown teddy bear socks. Because see, the socks would be made by a company that likes to do novelty type socks, so that they have a nice, some logos and graphics, so that they look really interesting, and you wear them and you got attractive women and men just saying, "Hey, nice socks, that's cool. Where do you get those?" And Converse high top sneakers that are neon orange in color, because I've seen these advertised, and I think I've seen them in stores that would sell, either department stores or stores that would simply just sell shoes. This color does exist for Converse high tops. Once the getting dressed is finished, Blaine returns to his bathroom and opens the medicine cabinet. And his prescription allergy medication and then he finished up getting ready to leave the apartment. He places all his favorite personal belongings in his pockets and suddenly decided where he is going to go eat breakfast. After thinking about it for 90 seconds, he has the desire to eat at Barry Hawkeye's Old Cafe that is located on Tower Road in the far east part of Aurora. Now, Tower Road, I think part of it's in Denver and the other part of it's in Aurora, or maybe it's just near Aurora and it's in Denver. It's been so long since I have been to Tower Road, and the way the area looks, it looks like Far East Aurora, but yet I've heard it's Denver. It's confusing. I mean, it didn't look bad. It's confusing as to where it really actually is, meaning referring to Tower Road. So he gets in his car, and the type of car I would assume that he would have, this is in about 2015, 2016, would probably be a okay, after doing some pausing and doing some research, I think that it would probably be a Chevrolet Bolt Delta 2. And it was probably a 2010 model. It was, one of the first Chevrolet Bolt models. Because a Chevrolet Volt and a Chevrolet Sparks are one of the cheapest vehicles you can get. A new one, I don't know how much a new one would cost now in 2025, but in 2010, probably somewhere between $8,700 and $11,000 is the best guess I can make. This is just instinct. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't drive a car, so I don't have, and in some ways I have good instincts, but in other ways I don't. So anyways, he gets in the car, and he probably drives through the freeway for a part of it. I would assume that he would be on I-225 for a period of time. And I would guess that one of the streets he goes to get to this place would most likely be Alameda, where he goes the east direction this way. So because Tower Road is going to be a street that's about like this. It's going to be a northwest street. And he goes to the restaurant because it had just opened 6 months ago, and it's new, and a lot of word of mouth is going to Barry Hawkeye's Old Cafe, but it's still not the most popular restaurant in the Denver metro area. But it's going like this. It's gaining momentum. It's getting more and more popular. He goes in, and they're having a daily special for $7.99. He can get 2 eggs, 2 sausage patties, 2 sausage links, or 2 strips of bacon. And he gets either 4 slices of French toast or 2 slices, or not, no, let me correct that. Either 2 slices of French toast cut in half, so they look the way that French toast is supposed to look like, or 2 pancakes that are about this big around. And coffee would normally cost probably at least $2.59, but on that day, it's only $1.50. That day only. because they can't do it too much, because what's going to happen is the restaurant's going to sell so much coffee that they run out of coffee, and they got to drop what they're doing. They got to go to they got to drive fast to the supplier, get it, pay for it, drive back fast, and it's quite stressful to the manager or the owner. Okay, so back to this particular situation. And again, the situation, if I didn't make it clearly enough before, it's probably gonna occur in late March, early May. Is the mental picturization I have in my mind. And he goes in. He says that, and the place is busy. It's not super busy, but there's only like 3 vacant tables. And then when he gets on the booth, which is the only place you can go, it's down to 2 vacant tables. And he eats. Or no, correction. He has to wait for the food to be made. He has to wait over 15 minutes for the food to get to him, because the cooks are really busting they're really busting ass. They're really moving as fast as they can. And then what happens is he gets two over easy eggs, 2 sausage patties, and 2 pancakes. And then what he does is, after he eats the dinner, or excuse me, the breakfast. What's the matter with me? And he looks outside, and all of a sudden, a heavy rainstorm hits. And he's like thinking, whoa, I'm not going out and driving, because the likelihood I'm going to get hit by lightning is hard, because it's thundering hard. It's in an area where it's a weather belt where it can rain so heavy. So he stays there for about a little over an hour. And the restaurant gets to the point where it goes down to not nil, but it slows down quite a bit. And after he proceeds to leave, after he's had at least 3 cups of coffee, because he's wired. I mean, he wants to bounce off the walls. He pays his bill, and normally, just a sec. Okay, after using the calculator to do a little bit of mathematics, it would come to about $10.22. They give him a $2 discount because he had to wait just a little bit more than 15 minutes for the food, and because shortly after he finished eating the meal, it started raining pretty heavy, and it was thundering hard. I mean, it rained pretty hard for about at least an hour and a half until it stopped. So his bill goes down to about $8.20. And he pays the bill, and he tips the waitress $3. Good for him. And he gets in the car, and it's not flood status, but it's, I mean, there's a little bit of water buildup on the paved streets, where it feels like you're in a narrow creek or creek, and he has to drive really carefully. And then what happens is when he gets on the highway, and the area where he gets on the highway, yeah, it rained, but it didn't rain as heavy as it did in the Tower Road area. And there's a traffic jam, and he is stuck in the highway traffic because there was a bad accident, bad car accident. I mean, he would stop for a while, and then he'd drive a little bit slow, and then he'd stop again, and then he'd drive for about another 15 to 20 feet, and then he'd stop again, and oh goodness, it was quite a traffic jam. And finally, when he gets to the part of I-225 where I-225 and I-25 merge, he starts going a little faster than usual until he gets to Hamden. And then what he does is he turns on the exit to go down Hamden. When he gets to Hamden, there's not an accident, but there is a guy that pulled over to the road who has a big pickup truck, who is talking in the middle of the road on his smartphone. And no matter how many people yell at him, he just keeps talking, and he ignores them. I mean, the guy's really a jerk. When he gets a little past Monaco, and he gets over to Oneida. It's Oneida Way instead of South Oneida Street. He zigzags through some streets until he gets to I think it would be roughly about Evans. Yeah, Evans. And he turns this way. He turns left. He keeps going down Evans until he gets to Jersey. Then he turns this way. He turns right. Because where his apartment is located is going to be north of Evans instead of south. And he keeps going and going and going and going until he gets to the apartment building. If it's not Mississippi, it's no more. I would have, gut instincts tell me, and based on me going past there many times in my life, it's somewhere between Mississippi and about Exposition. And he pulls into the parking lot in the back, like this. He gets out of his car. And he just says, screw it. I'm not going to go out again on the car for a while. Screw it. There's too many kooks driving around today. Screw it. So he goes into his living room. He turns on the Comcast cable box. He turns on his HD TV, which is pretty smart TV. And he just keeps flipping and flipping and flipping through channels. And he sees movie after movie and rerun after rerun. And he looks on either Home Shopping Network or QVC for about 10 minutes at a time. And then he goes into the fridge, and the frozen pizza that is supposed to be in the freezer part of the refrigerator ain't there. So he says, nope. I'm not going to do no under the store and get it. He says, I'm more in the mood for something more tasty. So he searches online at Domino's, pricing for Domino's Pizza. He searches on Papa John's. And he searches on Pizza Hut. And he also searches on Little Caesars. Well, he's in luck when he looks at Little Caesars. Because you see, they are running an extravagant sale. For only $6.99, he gets a large one-topping pizza. Yep. And he logs in through his email address and password, and he gets a pizza, and the delivery charge would probably be about $3. $3 to $4, about $4 probably. And he pays with his debit card. And then he goes into the fridge and he finds a I think it's pronounced IPA or IPA, one of those ale beers, or something that, or a lager that would be like a beer. He cracks open, starts drinking it. And then he waits about somewhere between 22 and 23 minutes. Then all of a sudden he hears a sound like this. Knocking on his door. Yeah. And the guy who he helps has like at least 9 pockmarks up here. I mean, they're not just like this. They're like here, 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 here. And his nose has scars on it. And there's a scratch mark right here. Yeah. The pizza delivery man was a meth addict. And he's shaking like this as he's holding the pizza. And he's giving it to him. And he's like going, and he's kind of shaking like this, going, and he's got really lots of beads of sweat on him. He says, hey, thanks, man. I gotta go. And he runs down the stairs faster than a cheetah. He takes the thing off the lid off of the pizza cardboard box container, and he's like carefully examining it to make sure there's not drugs or that has been spit on. And he sits there and he lifts up part of the pizza carefully, and he looks to make sure there ain't some undesirable things like shit or spit or mucus or, I'll just come out and say it, urine. Yep. There's none of that. And he gets over the pizza and he prays. He's like, Dear Lord, please forgive me that I'm not a church-going man who goes to church every Sunday, but I do believe in you. I have deep respect for you. And I also am strongly against abortion. Please, Lord, I hope this pizza is safe, will not make me sick. Amen. And he can hear the Lord say, you're saying, it won't, son, it won't. I will help take care of you. So he puts some on like 2 to 3 slices. He gets out the and this would be bought at a either online or through a I guess what would be called a foreign or imported type of small special grocery store. And it has this nice Italian logo on it, and it's Parmesan cheese and Romano cheese, and it's got this really, really good punch, thick, strong aroma. I want to say pungent, but pungent may not be the right word. And it goes, and then he contemplates putting some Tabasco sauce and goes, no. But what he does do is he walks like this. And then he backs up. And he goes into the cabinet where the Tabasco is. And in one hand he's got the pizza like this. The dinner plate with the pizza. And on the other hand he's got this. He goes over to the coffee table right in front of his couch. And he starts eating. And he takes a sip of the IPA, or IPA. And then he takes another bite. And he takes another sip. Well, I mean, he doesn't bite, sip. But he takes about 2 or 3 bites and he takes a sip. And he takes another bite or 2 and then he takes a little sip. And then when he's finished, and most of the beer's drank down, he just lets out a little burp. And he gets out a famous novel that was given to him as a gift by his cousin. It was sent to him in the mail a couple of years ago. Okay, I paused to do some research. Old Man in the Sea, and he keeps reading and reading and reading and reading and reading until he's just like, and tilts his head back like that. He's just like sitting there. You know, he keeps sleeping like that, making those slight snoring noises for probably, I would say, at least an hour. And then what happens is there's not gunshots. There's not a major car crash. But he wakes up because the flow of rain outside is very, very heavy. And the wind is blowing hard. And there's not a lot of thunder. But when the thunderbolts go, I mean, it's not super close, it's not violent thunderstorm sound, but it's a little more than medium rate. And he's just like, I don't know what else to do. I mean, he's not talking to himself, but he's thinking this in his mind. And he goes, well, I'll just get up on my knees and look over, because see, the way his couch is situated, if he gets up on his knees just right, he can just look up like this. You know, out the big window. And he just sits there and watches and watches and watches and watches for like at least a half hour. And then he thought to himself, you know, I ought to get on Comcast cable internet after I turn on my desktop computer and see what the weather is like nationwide, because this rain, I got a feeling that these rainstorms, you know, there's going to be a wave of weather where it goes through most of the United States like this. And he keeps looking and looking and looking. The one place where it's raining bad is this place, Eastern Kentucky. It's just a little bit over this way to the west of Ashland, Kentucky. Yeah. It's coming down hard. Big raindrops, and it's like a heavy monsoon, man. You don't want to be out driving around on that stuff because it's raining so heavy you can't really see very clearly what's in front of you. And there's too much of a risk of you getting into an accident or hitting a telephone pole or whatever. You know, whatever, what would be called automobile accident or automobile collision. And then what he does is he looks up a few things on YouTube, listens to some good music, and then a little after, I would say 12:30 a.m., he really starts yawning. And from head to toe, he's just wiped out. And he's like, you know, it's time to go to bed. So he undresses. He doesn't like to get in pajamas, but he likes to get into a nice bathrobe that would be one of those Empire Strike era reproduction type bathrobes. And he just lays in bed, and he's just really laying in bed, and he's really snoring away. I mean, he's not snoring heavy. He hasn't got sleep apnea per se, but he's snoring quite a bit. And he's really out. he wakes up at about 7:45 in the morning because he hears this on his apartment door. You know what that is? That's some 14-year-old punk pulling a terrible ding-dong ditch. Or doorbell prank. You know, he's got no doorbell, but and there's no knocker, but you just use your hand, gun. Yep. And he runs to the door, and he opens up the door, and he keeps looking around, and he hears somebody shutting the door really quick. He can't outright prove where it is, and he just thought, you know what, I'm not going to look where it is, because me wandering around inside this apartment with wearing my bathrobe, if a manager sees this, or some nosy, busybody neighbor, that's not going to look good on my performances as to me being a resident here. I better not do that. So he showers and shaves, and combs his nice little mustache, and he goes into the kitchen, and he proceeds to make some French toast, and he bought this at Whole Foods, some nice maple sausage that he got at the meat and seafood department at Whole Foods. And he just really has a good time just eating away at it. And then he goes to, he makes a decision where he wants to go. And he's not a smoker per se, but every once in a while, he likes to go get himself a cigar. So he goes to a place that went out of business in 1998 called Smoker's Inn on Colorado Boulevard. Nothing there. And he thinks. And he gets, he didn't have a cell phone. He goes into Safeway and asks at customer service to use phone book. He flips through the phone book, and he writes down on his hand the direct phone number of Prince Phillips, a tobacco shop that I very much like and adore, even though they're not in business. And he goes into Prince Phillips, and the owner, a white-haired gentleman with a nice thick white beard, and he kind of looked like Ernest Hemingway. He's not there, but a nice dark-haired lady named Colleen was there, and she's just really nice to him. And he sits down in the area where you sit. That's the lounging area, and he lights up a Fonseca or a Prince Philip brand Maduro Dominican Republic cigar that I'm trying to think. Those were somewhere between $3 and $4 roughly. He pays cash for it. and he gets some free matches. He lights it up with the matches, and he sits and he chats with a big guy, and I mean big. A guy, hold on a sec, let me think about this. Yeah, this guy is Hispanic. He's got a kind of a thick, bushy mustache here, and he's got a goatee, a little bit of a French tickler. You know, not one of those ones that go out like this, but one of those ones that's here, and instead of just being about like this, it goes down to about here. It's got some nice, distinguished gray streaks. And he's wearing a Panama hat. And I think the guy was named Marcos or Pepe or Romeo. And Romeo and Blaine talked a little bit. And by the time the cigar is finished, he's really buzzed. I mean, he feels drunk as a skunk. And he sits and he thinks about it before he leaves. He goes, I know what will cure it. He walks over to Sonic Drive-In, which would take about 3 or 4 minutes to walk over there. He gets a double cheeseburger, onion rings, and one of the drinks called a slush. And boy, after he has that, he feels a whole lot better. I mean, he feels a little hyper because there's so much sugar in the slush drink. And then what he does after he eats that, he gets into his Chevy Volt and he drives over to Best Buy on South Colorado Boulevard and East Mexico, 4100 block of East Mexico. And he just roams around. He looks at the DVDs. He looks at the stereos, the home stereos, the car stereos, and he looks at some of the appliances they have. I think they have some washers, some refrigerators, and he looks at some of the computer software. I mean, he looks at a lot of stuff inside the store. There's a good deal on 2 different movies that are DVDs, that are on DVD. One of them was Foul Play, starring Chevy Chase. And the other one... And the other one that was on sale, which I don't like the movie one bit because the way they made Jim Morrison out was not fair, was The Doors, that was released in 1991. Here's a personal message or input about the movie. One, the day that my mother took me over to the movie theater, but this is back when it was in the movie theaters, was a specific day where it was a parent-teacher students day off type day. And she drove me over there. It was on Mineral and Broadway. I don't think the theater's there anymore. I think they probably shut down by now. And I paid the ticket, and I bought either a soda or some candies or something. I didn't buy a big thing of popcorn because I don't think my mom would give me that much money. I watched the movie, and the one thing that as to the scenes that I found quite disturbing about the way they portrayed Jim Morrison was he took a chef's knife and he threatened his girlfriend, Pam Curson. I don't think he did it. I think they got into a heated argument, but he didn't go that far. And the other thing that they depicted that he did was that he locked up Pam inside a closet, and he doused the doors in the closet with a bunch of lighter fluid, and then lit it on fire. And the only way she got out was she kicked the door down. I don't think he went that far. I think that if they did have a very heated argument in the walk-in closet, if there was a walk-in closet at all, I think he really just got mad and screamed at her, and he got mad and he slammed the door really hard, and he walked out of the house, and he just left for a few hours or left for a couple of days. That's if that type of argument happened at all. And the other thing is, now this is me personally agreeing with somebody, and it is Ray Manzarek, the keyboard player. Ray Manzarek personally has said that he really did not like what Oliver Stone did to in regards to how he made the film called The Doors. He said something to the effect, "I'm really mad at him, man, and I'd like to deck him. I really want to deck him," meaning decking, meaning socking Oliver Stone in the face. Those were his words, not mine. So I think that, Jim Morrison was bad, but he wasn't as bad as they made him out to be in the movie The Doors that came out in 1991. Yeah, I don't want to see that movie because there's some good scenes in there, but there's also some scenes where it's really creepy and his behavior gets really ugly. The one thing that happened in the movie that some people deny is that, and this is when, this is in 1970, early 1971, a few months before he died. Jim Morrison really has a lot of flashbacks about how he really acted out. And And he's just sitting there with this really sad, distressed look on his face, and he's just sitting there like, and tears started coming out of both of his eyes, and you hear him say, like, he wants to be calm, and he doesn't want to act out really irrationally, and like he wants somebody to comfort him. He says, "I think I'm having nervous right now." I think that once, if not twice, and possibly even more than twice, Jim Morrison had an emotional episode, or emotional situation, not episode, where he actually said that to himself, or if Pam was in the room, he said that talking to himself, but Pam was nearby. And the other thing that, even though I've discussed this before, about the way Jim Morrison died, some people strongly think it was a heroin overdose. That might be true, but I strongly feel that's not right. That's not what happened. I think what really, truly happened was he was in the bathtub, taking a bath, trying to make himself feel better. Because he was probably breaking out, he probably broke out in sweat and needed a bath. And he needed a bath to make his body feel more refreshed and comforted. He was just laying there, and he starts going, he was dead. Me doing that type of demonstration and acting, or reenactment, the best I can do. It was one of three coronary related things: a massive heart attack, number one; 2, cardiac arrest; or 3, what killed Elvis Presley, cardiac arrhythmia; or 4, it was something worse than a heart attack. It was where the heart pretty much ruptured to death. It's called a coronary rupture or coronary explosion. Yeah. That's where all 5 of the major arteries rupture so bad, he dies just like that. He's dead within less than 30 seconds. It would be, to use formal medical terminology, in fact, it might be these words. It's either massive myocardial infarction or highly obstructive myocardial infarction. Yeah. It was heart related. Him overdosing is nothing but, I'm going to come right out and say the words, nothing but 100% bullshit. Meaning it didn't happen. Well, I've got lots of other ideas for this story, but I don't want this thing to go on for over 2 hours and really talk myself to no end. But I hope everybody finds the idea about Blaine Rowlong interesting. And it's time to end this vlog. And thank you, everybody, and goodbye now.